Hey everyone, this is Steve. I'm coming at you today from my backyard. Happy July 4th weekend. This is actually July 3rd when I'm recording this. Quick video to cover a couple of important things that are going on in class. I guess one overview thing though that I'd want to point out, maybe two overview things. The first thing is that it's important for folks to read the instructions for things because for the most part, the instructions for how to do various things are spelled out on the class website and in the syllabus and things like that. I'm still getting some questions from things where I'm kind of like, I don't think people looked at that stuff ahead of time. So that's thing number one, thing number 1.5. Thing number 2.5, I guess, is yes, the class is moving very, very quickly, too quickly. It's only 6 weeks long. I know, it's crazy. But we're all in this together. And what that means is that you've got to keep up with stuff because I can't really extend deadlines on things because the next deadline is creeping up so quick. So again, look at that schedule that's on the first page of the class website, the Canvas website. It has all the dates on there spelled out. It has all the due dates there. It has all the major assignments there too. So it might be worthwhile looking at some of these major assignments since, again, stuff is coming out so quick. Okay, that's pep talk sort of number one. Number two, this gets back into the instructions for realm of things. The peer review part of the assignment is always going to come with a survey. So what I mean is that I want you to comment on each other's projects, but I also want you to fill out a brief survey for each peer in your group, answering a series of questions and to give a little bit more feedback. There's two reasons for this. One is to lend a little bit more structure to your feedback and to be able to give feedback back to your peers and to everybody else in class. Like, you'll get this feedback too. It's a little bit more structured and it's a little bit more organized, and you can compare what different people said in one spot. The other reason for doing this, frankly, is it helps me keep track of what you said on other people's projects. So it helps me grade your skills in peer review. Okay. So make sure you do that, and do that sooner than you later, because after all, the personal statement itself is due on July 5th, and if you can't finish the survey, you're not really helping your peers or getting much help from the survey because it'll be too late. Speaking of that personal statement due on July 5th, yes, by July 5th, by the end of the day. When's the end of the day? The end of the day in my book is midnight Eastern time. So as long as you get in by the end of the day, then you're fine. Three very, very important parts, things to think about when you hand in the personal statement, okay? The first thing is that you should think about the comments that your peers gave you in peer review. Think about the extent to which you followed the assignment, and make revisions accordingly, because this is your chance to do that. The second thing is that make these changes in the original Google document that you prepared. In other words, don't create a whole new document and then make the changes there. Go ahead and make the changes in the original document. Even if you decide to start over completely, use the original document that you shared, cut everything out, and paste in the new document. Now you may say to yourself, why? Why are you asking for this? Because that's how I can follow the extent to which you've made changes based on people's comments, based on people's feedback. I want to see what other people said in comments during the peer review process, because I want to see if you actually paid attention to those comments, and I also want to see if I can add to those comments to help you think about revising it further. Okay, so don't create a new document. Make changes to the original document and save it and share it so that everyone can edit. The third thing is, third thing I guess is make sure that you include a memo with your personal statement. Remember, this is one of the things that's required for all the assignments. So the personal statement has an audience and purpose based on whatever the personal statement is. If you're applying to law school at the University of Toledo, that's your audience, that's your purpose. If you're applying to a fellowship that's offered through the Department of Education, that's your audience, that's your purpose, okay? The memo is directly from you to me, and in this memo, I want you to tell me how the assignment went. It doesn't have to be very long, but this is your chance to talk about things that that stumped you, or you were helped by, or how you thought about the assignment, things that you learned from the assignment, maybe something from one of the readings that might have helped. Okay, like I said, it only has to be a couple paragraphs long, but I want your feedback directly from you to me to talk about that. All that's due on July 5th by the end of the day. Coming up very soon, of course, is the letter of complaint assignment. There's a draft of that due on July 7th. And here's the thing that's important about this. First off, actually, there's a couple things that are important about it. Think about, first off, as I've said a couple different times, the complaint actually has to be real. It actually has to have something to do with your life, or at least very close to it. My experience in the past has been that when people just try to make up complaints, they make up wildly fanciful, hard to wrap your head around kind of complaints. So I want it to be something that you actually can relate to and can tell the story about. The other thing that's important about the complaint letter is that, and again, we talk about this a little bit in the assignment too. It actually has to be something that you can potentially do something that someone could potentially do something about. Okay. So, for example, to complain to the Detroit Tigers about a loss, there's nothing that they can do about that. That's kind of a fool's errand. To complain to a restaurant about how, you got bad service and you just want to let them know, you gave me bad service, that's not very useful either. If you want to complain to a restaurant, you want to basically say, I think that you owe me an apology and I think that you owe me money back or something like that. You want some kind of result as a result of your complaint, okay? The other thing is, and this is really important to think about, is actually the complaint is just the first part of this assignment. Because what's going to happen is you're going to hand in the draft of your complaint letter on July 7th. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pair everybody up with one other person. And you are going to write a response, which is called an adjustment letter, to answer that complaint. And as I describe in the assignment, you'll read more about it on July 7th, you need to write two responses to the complaint. One that basically says yes, and one that basically says no. Okay? And we'll talk about that as we get closer to the due date for that. But the point is, you don't just stop at complaining. You also have to go to the next step, which is trying to solve the problem. Okay, I think that's it for now. Like I said, I know the class is very quick. I know there's way too much to do. 6 weeks, I've already laid that out there. Do your best. Try to enjoy July 4th. Try to get some work done too. Okay, I'll see you online.